Welcome into Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. I am Geoff Schwartz alongside Gabe Goodwin. As usual, today's episode presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. It is Monday, December 15th. And Gabe, I have justified some of the Chiefs issues, which we're going to talk about, by just saying that the Chiefs have gone down a little bit this year for Oregon to win a championship. We're
Oh,
switching. We're switching now. We went from Oregon not winning a championship, but very close. Chiefs winning a championship. Now we flip-flopped in my head, Gabe. So now Oregon's going to win a championship while the Chiefs take a nosedive in 2025. That's how I'm
I think,
justifying
I
this
think that's
today.
what the kids call a cope. I think you're
I think
coping.
that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's a cope. Yeah, I think that's what they do. Cope. Yeah, cope. Yeah,
Well,
not
how so?
not good.
How are you coping? Because I got to say, as a lifelong, well-known Chargers fan, I was happy with the result yesterday. But anyone who likes the NFL was not happy to see how it happened. That was a bummer to watch Pat walk off. Even worse when we got the news. Yup, officially ACL. We already thought the dynasty was kind of winding down and a lot of changes were coming, but now they might miss a whole year worth of chance to get it back on track. So how are you feeling about next year? Forget this year, next year with the Chiefs.
All right. So yes, Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL. It's an unfortunate way to end a season from hell, Gabe. And it just with the amount of hits he was taking, it felt like it wasn't going to end well this year, right? It just was that type of season. And unfortunately, it happened in week 15, not in week 10 or 7 or 8, whatever it was. And look, the timeline is tight, right? It's 9 months. The fastest he get back. Probably unlikely he starts next season healthy. You never know, but he's 30 years old. It takes a little longer to heal at 30. If he was 22, I'd feel a little bit differently. I just hope the Chiefs use this time to really reflect on the shit show that was this season and to figure out how this won't happen moving forward. Now, it's not anyone's fault per se. Mahomes got hurt, right? Like it's no one's fault. That offensive lineman hurt. But the things that are troubling the Chiefs, we saw again yesterday. They happened a lot yesterday. No easy offense. Got to find easy offense. And it was interesting. Andy Reid had a quote today. We talk on Monday, something like, "We got to get this sucker right for next year." Like I think at least I'm hearing the right things, Gabe. Right? I'm hearing the right things. But what has to get better for next season is they have to change offensive identities, and that requires Andy Reid to fire coaches. Which by the way, I think since 2013 he has fired one and a half coaches. Okay, he fired Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator, to hire Steve Spagnuolo, great hire, and they didn't fire Eric Bieniemy, but they mutually parted while he found a different job. Right, like that just was sort of the end of the line there. That's it. They still have the same tight end coach. They still have the same offensive line coach on offense. Defensively, there's some of the same pieces still there. Now, of course, people have gotten upgrades to different places, and mostly in offense, become head coaches and whatnot, and being OCs elsewhere. So they've had already move up, but for the most part, the staff has been the same staff. So Coach Reid has to make the changes now. Has to make the changes. Has to be done, and I hope that he is able to make those changes this offseason. Otherwise, look, he just won't have a job in 2027. Like it's that simple, right? Like the half changes have to be made. It's time. I think Andy Reid should get that opportunity to make the changes, Gabe. I know people disagree with me, but also to remember, if you fire a coach, you have to hire someone who's better.
Right.
Show me right now who that guy is. There's no Ben Johnson in this coaching cycle right now, Gabe. So that's what has to happen. I hope some reflection is done about how to make this an easier offense for everyone involved, including Patrick Mahomes, and they find some way to make this easier for everyone on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna think about Nick Saban, another, you know, obvious Hall of Fame coach, dynasty building type coach. I'm gonna equate him to Andy Reid here. When things were going a little off track for Alabama a few years ago, he started just bringing in these former head coaches to be
Yes.
specialists for him, right? Now, Lane Kiffin's name means a lot of different things to people today, but when he hired Lane to come in and just sort of build a modern offense for him, it worked. It made a lot of sense. Is there some sort of splashy move like that that you would advise, that you would want to see Coach Reed make? I don't mean Lane Kiffin literally, but a
No,
move
no, no,
like
no.
that.
Yeah, right, right. And look, I think you have to give Saban credit because over the years he has adapted. Remember, he was like the spread offense is the scourge of college
Yeah.
football, and then he just ran the spread offense.
Yeah.
And by the way, Andy Reid also made a change. He changed his offense for Patrick Mahomes. He's
Yeah.
done it before. Like
Yes.
the idea that he can never change at his age, and he could never. He's earned the opportunity. It's so odd to me, guys. He's made 7 straight AFC Championship games. They just played in 3 Super Bowls. He's afforded the opportunity to fix this thing this offseason. Look, the Shanahan McVay tree is really prosperous, Gabe, because it creates easy offense. Now, there are some issues with that offense, in my opinion. And if you find a way to blend the run game and formations with some of the West Coast principles, especially in protection, that Coach Reid has, he feels like a blend. Like, I would love someone from that tree
Okay.
to work with Coach Reid and figure out a way to blend the best of both these offenses. I don't know who that is. But that's what I think they have to do. Now, my brother brought up if Mike McDaniel gets fired, that's the guy that would be great. And I agree with him. That would be a fantastic pairing. But that's not going to happen. He's not getting fired. They've won like 5 in a row, right? And they play tonight as we start to record this against the Steelers. We don't know what's going to happen in the game tonight. But something new. They need something new. And I don't know where that new comes from, but it's got to be somewhere. And I trust Andy Reid to figure out. And if my trust or trust him too much, I should say, he'll get fired. Like, it's that simple. The worst thing of all this, by the way, is like today we just spent on the internet just bashing like the legacy of Patrick Mahomes. And I can't stand how we go right from guy gets hurt to like, well, he's no Tom Brady. He's been declining for 4 years now. It's like, can we like not do that, Gabe? Every single time that something like this happens, Mahomes will retire right now and have one of the best NFL careers of all time. I just don't know why the internet feels the need to go directly to he's no Tom Brady. I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. Tom Brady at this point in his career, I think played 14 more seasons. There's still a lot of Mahomes football left. And the idea that Chiefs can't reinvent remember, the Patriots had 2 separate dynasties, right? They had the 01, 2, and 4, I believe is what it was, or maybe it was 1, 3, and 4. And then they had 14, 16, 18. 2 separate dynasties. Yep. There's a lot of room left for the Chiefs to be good for the next 5 to 7 years. They have some roster deficiencies. You got to figure those things out. But it's not like this is done forever. So it was a great dynasty. It was a great run. It is over now, and they have to figure out now how to make things better.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about 2 things then. First, I'm going to go backwards for a second. You said sort of you'd like to see them bring in someone from that Shanahan McVay tree, that mindset, the instant offense thing. I was sort of probing for a quick name, but let me ask it this way. Has that tree sort of been plucked of all its fruit? Is it possible to look, and this is where I'm not smart enough, you're the smarter guy. Do you look at the North Texases, the JMUs, not trying to trigger you, like find some guy who's figured out something at a lower level and elevate him and say, do it, man.
So the reason why I think you cannot fire Andy Reid is there is not that.
No, not fire Andy Reid. I'm saying
no. Here's why. Like, is that if that guy can be your OC, he'll probably be your head coach too. There's not a lot of choices. There's not a lot of guys right now that you look at. There's a lot of young guys. Like there was a list. Oh man, I forget who put the list out. Like a top 40 coaching. I forget the way to phrase it. It's like the top 40 coaching candidates in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are guys that would not probably excite you. But then it was like, here are 3 29-year-old offensive coordinators that are in their second year at Jacksonville and Los Angeles that are going to be head coaches one day or 5 years from now. Like those guys might be the ones that you target, the young OC on the Rams, young OC in Jacksonville, something like that, who's in that Shanahan tree. Look, Andy Reid will still call plays, but then you get a fresh idea of what to do offensively.
Yeah. Okay, so then the other side of it is, you breezed through this. I think we need to actually spend a minute on it. Major injury here for Mahomes. You said 9 months. right? So talk to me. How does
Well,
it
that's
go?
lucky.
Right. So
Mm.
how does he get back? Like, what's this offseason going to look like for him? How quickly can he get started on that? How much, what can we expect from him as a player on a repaired knee?
Well, most often the first year after an injury is not great, so the second year is better. And I'm not sure the Chiefs roster will be good enough next year to compete for a championship anyway. So it does feel like 2027 is
Excuse me.
probably when Mahomes will feel healthiest off this injury. And the roster, if you do the right things, next couple of years can be good enough to get back to winning a championship. But look, he's a super mutant. Like maybe he heals quickly. We see this often with some of those type of players that are just, um, you know, they're not the regular even player. They're not the regular human, obviously. Um, but I I think it would. I think you're going to see him, by mid-September next season. I did see a tweet today that because of Labor Day being so much later next year, I should say, that the NFL is starting like super late, like even later than usual. So, um, yeah, they don't start till the 13th because the Labor Day is the 7th this
Mm-hmm.
year. So that's like an extra week. Like this year, it started the week before, right? Because of where Labor Day is at. So that's interesting to note that you get an extra week to get ready to play.
Yeah, that could be meaningful. And by the way, this means that in the draft and in free agency, the Chiefs are going to have to do better than Gardner Minshew, right? Like,
I mean, I don't. They're not going to draft a quarterback. It's a bad class. But I think that uh, you can you can roll in Gardner Minshew for 2 weeks. Like I think Gardner Minshew is a great 2 to 4 week quarterback. Who else? Who's your choice? Who right now? Like
well,
who's
I
your?
don't know, but before we knew that the season was over for Mahomes and we were just watching that final drive, that was one of the worst passes I've ever seen to end a game from Minshew
What?
after the
Oh, it
penalty where
was
he
so
couldn't get the
bad.
play in.
It was so bad.
It was
I was
brutal.
shocked. But now I don't think they're going to snap this season, which is
Okay.
like, which is. I
I'm,
mean,
we're not here to make
look,
fun of Gardner Minshew,
I
but that was
I
absolutely
I think
I mean,
it was a bad pass. The Chiefs are done this year. Like they're losing to the Titans this weekend. Like they're just done. I don't know who the best option for quarterback is right now. For right now, it's Gardner Minshew. Like they're not going to draft a quarterback. Just sign a veteran, Jameis Winston. I don't even know who, Marcus Mariota. Like just sign someone to get you through the first 2 to 4 weeks of the season.
yeah. Or apparently Tom Brady said he could still do it at 48. And by the way, I think since 1998, if I'm not mistaken, this will be the first year where we have a playoffs without some combination of Brady, Manning, um, Mahomes, obviously, and then who's the fourth? Is it Cousins? Who else? Who else is the other guy
Mm.
who hasn't who helps us round out that quadrant? I'm looking. I'm literally, Jeff. I want to let the live audience in on this. I'm looking at this graphic up on the screen, but my screen is completely upside down. So I'm seeing Atlanta, and it says number 6, but it's number 9, and I actually
That's
don't know
Michael
who.
Penix.
What?
I think it's a joke.
We
Yeah.
added Michael Penix, so I just got punked
Yeah.
by the tweet
That
that
is
I
Michael
called for.
Penix, right? That is
I
Michael
can't
Penix,
tell.
right?
It's upside down, Jeff.
I mean,
Point
it
is
looks
that
like Manny
we
Brady Penix.
haven't.
Yeah.
It is
It's Michael
Penix. It was
Penix. Yeah.
Hank
Yeah.
playing funnies with us. The point is we haven't had a playoffs in like most of our lifetime without
I
Brady,
know.
Manning, or Mahomes.
I am curious to see. I think there'll be actually a pretty highly competitive postseason, and there'll be a lot of people watching. I know people assume that they just won't be there. I disagree. I think people will be very excited to see this new crop of quarterbacks and teams in the postseason this year.
Yeah, I certainly am. And I was getting excited about the Packers, and arguably the bigger sort of season changing ACL injury to a superstar yesterday was Micah Parsons. It's weird timing that that's not the biggest story in the NFL right now, but he's done, and he's going to have the same fight to come back next year that Pat is. The Packers, for a minute there, looked like a real contender. So they lose Parsons. What do you make of that? What do you think about his path back? What do you think about their chances without him?
So this is a bigger injury in impact for today
Yes.
than the Mahomes injury, right? Because the Chiefs were not making the playoffs anyways. This is a huge problem for the Packers because Micah Parsons is so good and he demands so much attention, Gabe. It makes everyone else on the defensive line better. And the Packers pass rush is not great to start with outside of Parsons. So now you lose Parsons. Now you're in a world of hurt, man. Christian Watson might have gotten hurt as well. You play Chicago again. Um, you couldn't rush the passer second half of that game. Now you certainly can't rush the passer without Parsons. He's that good of a player that he will be missed and more impactful to a playoff team than Mahomes will because the Chiefs are not a playoff team.
Yeah, well, what about his comeback too? Because here's something I was surprised to learn, Jeff. I thought to myself, man, quarterbacks, I've seen them come back from ACLs and they can wear the brace and they can just be a little less mobile. Mobility's always been a sneaky part of Mahomes' game, but he can survive without moving as much as he does. I didn't think that a defensive end, especially a guy who is the most freakishly athletic and one of the heavier guys out there, I didn't think there'd be much way for him to come back and look the same. But apparently, in the last few years, there are actually quite a few really successful defensive ends who've come back from ACLs. I just want you to explain that to me because it goes against everything I would have thought. I would have thought the amount of torque and leverage on the knee and the amount of sort of quick burst that you need would mean that was a more devastating injury to that position. Why do you think that's not the case?
Well, the ends are the freak shows, Gabe.
Okay.
Like, look, I know this sounds silly, but it's really true. Like I've played with players that are freak shows and they just come back from injury faster than anyone else does. I mean, I remember Jordan Gross, our left tackle, who was, 5-time Pro Bowl or whatever he was. He was a freak. He was one of the best, not Hall of Famer, but like Hall of incredibly good, right? And he did a tib fib. He broke his lower leg in compound fracture and all that the jazz, like November. And by March, he was beating everyone in preseason conditioning drills. Like I watched Adrian Peterson play with a sports hernia for the last 2 months of the season, didn't practice all week, showed up on Sunday, rushed for 200 yards. These guys that are different, man, they're just different. And some like Micah Parsons is probably going to be fine. He probably will be fine. Now, again, year 2 is typically when you feel much, much better. Like he probably won't be the same to start next season, but to end next season, yeah, I wouldn't count him out.
I like that this whole show is that you're here to make us smarter, and the smartest thing you can say is like some guys are just freaks. I believe you. That's the right analysis.
I don't rehab with them. I mean, I've seen like Myles Garrett trains in the same gym I used to. We do O-line masterminds at our old gym, and like I would watch him work out. Like he's just different than everyone else. Like I don't know. I don't know. I played with Julius Peppers, man. Like it's different cat, man. Guys are they're built differently.
Right before we started the show today, I was scrolling Twitter X, and I saw an old clip of Barry Sanders in a dunk contest, and he did a reverse hezzy dunk, two-handed dunk.
Yeah,
Barry Sanders. I was like, oh yeah, right. Some guys are just completely different.
They are, and that's why I would imagine Parsons comes back and he's going to be fine eventually. Not this, probably not this good immediately, but yes.
Okay. Well, then we'll see what the Packers can do with the rest of the season, but probably they're going to be one of the favorite teams next year and for a few years to come, as long as they keep him on the roster. Let's talk about the Bills and the Patriots. We were real close to having to have a serious see God about the Patriots. I've really avoided having to take them seriously. And it felt for a little while with a lead like, oh, God, we really have to do this now. And then Josh Allen did something he doesn't always do. He came up clutch and he won the game, comeback win. And I feel a lot better about this. Order has been restored. So what are your takeaways? Do you want to talk Pats or Bills from that game?
Well, I mean, my takeaway is Buffalo has to win one exact way, and that worries me in the postseason. Think about their last 4 wins. It's like 44-32, 39-34, 35-31. They can't stop anyone, Gabe. And it puts so much pressure on Josh Allen to have to do everything for this team. It's a lot of work for him to do this. And again, I just worry about his ability to continue to do this in every single game down the stretch here. To get a little bit better on defense was unlikely to happen. That puts him in a better situation, of course. And so that's my concern with them. I think New England is what I expected them to be. Like they're not quite good enough to compete for a championship. Like I think that's about well, if you're up 24-3 at home, you got to win. If you're a championship team, you win that game, right, Gabe? You put Buffalo away, you win that game, and they did, and it's fine. Like that's okay. They're just not there yet, and they'll get there maybe next year, but they're not there now.
Yeah. Okay, so then I have to ask, Josh Allen has looked like the best player, and the Bills have looked like the best team a number
Yeah,
of times in recent years, and then every year it seems they run into Patrick Mahomes or some other bit of bad luck, and teams like the Ravens and others have a hand in that. The I mean, the dance floor is wide open.
yeah.
Like this feels like the year Allen has to get a ring, right?
It feels like it feels like he has to, right? This is like the year to do it because everyone look, Mahomes is gone. Look at the rest of the AFC. It's got Bo Nix, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence.
Ugh.
That's the AFC right now. And so this feels like again, I don't much of the defense game is good enough to make that happen, but this definitely feels like the year. By the way, so my cousin-in-law is a huge Bills fan, and he was over Sunday watching the game with us. And he is one of those fans that like you just sort of he's a Marine and a former police officer, like intense individual, 55 years old, big Bills fan. He watches football like you think he would watch football. And the first half of that game, he was so angry. The first half of that game. Of course they're gonna lose this game. A big run. Of course they can't tackle, blah, blah, blah. And then he was sitting on the couch and he didn't move the entire second half. Didn't move, didn't talk, nothing. Just like refused to like superstition, like didn't move at all. And then at the very end, I was like, "You happy now, Dave?" And he's like, "I'm happy now." It was so much fun to watch with him. He was like, he just was so miserable and so angry, and then all of a sudden turned around and yeah, it's fun to watch football sometimes. Like I went with him to the Bills Chiefs playoff game a few years ago. He's awesome, but he's like just like a fan, like just like the average, like how you would be as a fan. That's Dave. It's awesome.
Well, then Dave and I probably both have this question. What is with you NFL players and throwing up? What's going on there? Like I've done some competitive things in my life. I've done some nerve-wracking things in my life. I don't habitually just throw up.
Yeah.
But all the
So,
NFL guys I've talked to, throwing up is like a big part of your lives.
no, no. I was a pooper, nervous
Oh
pooper.
boy, here we
That
go.
was that was me. You what you waited in this question. Remember, I'm not supposed to input like on the rundown. That's I saw
You're
this in the
supposed
rundown. I
to
was like,
give me a heads
I was
up
like,
if
I
you're
was
going to
like,
say I'm not a puker, I'm a pooper.
so that in college I was, and then I stopped, and then in NFL I didn't have to do that anymore. But like my nerves were, I would poop before games. Like that's how I handled my nerves. And then I took some Imodium and went and played football. So some guys puke, some guys poop, some guys are fine.
It's
So I never.
nerves? Are you saying it's nerves?
That's what everyone said. I don't know that. Right? I saw. Is that what they said about him throwing up?
Josh Allen basically has to puke. He talked about it because he got caught. He was sort of trying to hide it, and he was puking. And they asked him, what was going on there, and he's like, "No, I just sort of have to do that."
Okay,
That's, I mean, if they don't catch it every game, I don't know. Like it basically happens every game. If I don't get enough out pregame, it usually happens at halftime. If I don't get enough at halftime, it usually happens in the third or fourth quarter, and that's just, I don't know why I do it. It just happens, and it's due to nothing else but other than just like a weird feeling. Just got to get it out.
Yeah. Okay. He pukes every game, Gabe. That maybe he drinks too much water before the game. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Jeff, for a minute there, I lost you. I did a little bit of mental puking as I tried
Yeah.
to stay composed live on the air. So I hope you just watched the clip we were talking about.
I did.
And that's what the
I
delay
did.
was.
That was that correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
great.
Josh Allen was puke. He said he just has to get it up, man. Halftime, third quarter, doesn't matter. He's got to puke. Yeah. Do you think it's like hereditary? Do you think like now that they're having a child, do you think he passes this on to the child when the child's nervous at some point in his life? Like this, because it's a hereditary problem?
Oh, that's an interesting theory. Um, well, I would hope that first he passes on all of his athleticism and his looks and his competitive spirit and his, intelligence, all the other things that make Josh Allen great. But if with that comes these weird nerves that cause you to puke, I think that's fair trade.
It might be a fair trade. Yeah. Look, I have no parenting advice for anyone, like zero, except you should have someone try to sleep train your kid when it's appropriate because that's a lifesaver when your kid starts sleeping. 4 months, Josh Allen can afford it. Pay someone for 3 days, get your kid sleep trained, and then you can live a life again with a schedule and with a little bit of break.
Yeah. Well, I think we need a little bit of a break because, as anyone can see behind me, the background went away. You went away in my monitor, and I almost went away out of fear. I almost puked from not knowing if you were still on with me. So let's take a quick break, reset, come back, talk some quick hitters and some college ball.
All right, Gabe, we're back here. Let's do some quick hitters, then we'll maybe hit some college football quickly here. What do you got first for me?
Well, it's Monday. We're live. So I guess I have to ask: do you want to talk about Dolphins Steelers? Do we want to preview that game for those who are thinking about laying a few bucks?
The chances I stay awake for this whole game are minimal. I would say, yeah, it's not going to happen.
You're not interested in the Mike Tomlin storylines, or you mentioned Mike McDaniel early. Like they're both interesting coaches in a off season of coaching change potential.
I think they're both going to be back at this rate,
Wow.
right? I mean, the Dolphins have won what 4 or 5 in a row. The Steelers are right in the playoff hunt as usual. Feels like the same thing's going to happen that we've seen year over year. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to finish right at 500, and they're going to end up just sort of being what we expect every year. And Steelers are going to fire a coach for being what they expect every year, are they?
I don't think so. We've talked about it a few times already this season, so I'll spare you that take again. But then we have to look over at the Ravens in the division. They are the team that could spoil that if they kind of they're getting hot. Do they stay hot? Do they get hot enough?
I don't know. I wasn't terribly impressed with their. The Bengals defense absolutely stinks, and they couldn't score on them. I mean, one of the touchdowns was obviously a pick six, right? So I no, I don't really buy the Ravens yet.
Still no. Okay.
Ravens Patriots this weekend. Well, this would be a good game.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that this could be. We were talking about Josh Allen, getting a chance at this because Pat's out. I think this might be Lamar's chance. If they sneak in and then the defense plays well,
I just don't think their team is good enough for that. I don't.
Okay.
I just don't. Yeah.
All right. Well, a team that I never thought was good enough and now definitely isn't good enough because they had to call a guy older than either of us to come back and play quarterback. Good on Phillip Rivers for not, being terrible after being away from the game for a few years. Anything you want to say about him? Just the fact that they called him, all the coverage of that, it was fun, I guess. But you got any thoughts on Phillip Rivers making a comeback?
I think it's a sad state of where the NFL quarterback development is at, where guys come back after 5 years to try to save your team. And Gabe, his comeback player of the year odds are like 5-1, 3.5-1. He completed 9 passes behind the line of scrimmage in this game. Like he attempted one ball over 10 yards over the middle of the field and threw an interception. This is the best he's going to look in the first game back. It's not going to be better next week and the week after that. So, I mean, I don't think it's an inspiring story, honestly. I know people love this story for some odd reason, but needing to go to Phillip Rivers, who hasn't played in 5 seasons, to sort of have some way to win every week, it's not great.
I think Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco are similar in that nobody really was like a big believer when they were in their prime, and then they went away, and then everyone suddenly like fell in love with them when they come back and try to do something kind of hard. It just feels a little forced to me. Like why are we pretending this is so amazing? Like you just said, the stats aren't any good. He didn't do anything all that.
I just think people like these stories. I don't know. I don't find it really fascinating to watch a 44-year-old who can't move in the pocket and has a sort of a noodle arm try to win a game. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy. The other side of that would be a rookie who nobody really believed in, or some people didn't believe in. Other people believed in a little too much. Shedeur Sanders, it feels like every other week the stock is way up or way down. He's like cryptocurrency. And then there's a whole element that we're not going to touch with how people view him and who the kinds of people who support him or don't look, what they look like. I guess my question to you is, has he shown you enough as a player to kind of have the story that Caleb Williams is having this year of year 2, the guy will figure it out?
Yeah. So I haven't watched enough of him to know. I did see this tweet this morning, and I look, it's probably accurate, but doesn't want to tell the story. So Shedeur Sanders ranking out of 44 quarterbacks who have logged at least 165 snaps. So out of 44, he ranks 44th in EPA per play, 44th in success rate, 43rd in completion percentage. Now, he's played in bad weather in a couple games, so it's certainly unfair, I think, to judge the completion percentage. Jerry Jeudy can't catch a football, certainly not great. I just don't know what he's done over the last month or will do that will get the Browns to not draft a quarterback 1 overall. If they, so I still maintain he can play in the NFL. It's just a terrible spot for him, man. Any quarterback is going to struggle in this situation. It's just not a good spot.
Yeah. Okay. But it wasn't a good spot for Caleb last year. Coach changed, a couple personnel moves, a little luck.
Yeah, but the difference is Caleb showed those elite gifts in college.
Yes.
I don't know if Sanders has those elite gifts. Williams, the throw he made yesterday, the one where he kind of, ran to the right, hesitated, threw across his body to Moore. Sanders just doesn't have that arm.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to make that throw in the wind. He's not going to do that. So that's why it's not the same thing. So I think Sanders can be a competent NFL quarterback in the right system with the right pieces around him. I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity very much in his career to do that, because part of it is when you're a 5th-round pick, you just don't get those chances.
Yeah. What if his dad gets an NFL job and then brings him in? Do you think that like something about their dynamic makes him better?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So a guy who used to be behind Caleb, actually lost his job to Caleb back at USC, has a nice time at Ole Miss, makes his way to the NFL with high expectation, now has had 5, I believe I have this right, 5 concussion protocols in his NFL career, which has only been 10 games.
Yeah. And he, not good, right?
Yeah, like we should be real scared for Jackson Dart, right?
Yeah. Now, Giants fans will point out that wasn't like a hard hit he took that led to concussion check, which is certainly fair. It wasn't a hard hit, but it still is not good to be checked that many times. So I don't like it, man. He seems to be super beat up all the time. I mean, you can't stop him from running the ball. I think he just has to be smart about how he does it.
I'm not trying to make a joke out of this. I really wouldn't make a joke out of this. I have not ever seen it. Has a quarterback ever worn the special helmet, the extra lid?
No, I don't think that matters.
No?
No.
Why do you say that?
The data doesn't really show that thing helps prevent concussions.
Oh, okay. Well, I was under the assumption that it really did help, but okay. Glad to hear that you're.
I don't think it does.
Okay. All right. Well, another guy who has a great promise but can't stay healthy, finally back, Joe Burrow. We feel bad for him. Like, where are we on Joe Burrow, man?
Oh, yikes, man. God, their offensive line is just so bad. There's just, I know that he had that, woe is me. Woe is me is the wrong way to say it. He had that, like, just sort of reflective press conference where it seemed like he was going to pull an Andrew Luck and just flat out quit, which I don't think he's going to do. But I think it's time he exerts a little bit of like, come on, guys. Like it's time to figure this thing out. Do you know the Bengals didn't even I guess that's NFL policy that you have to clear the snow off the seats for games, and then even clear the snow. Like they asked their fans to come to watch a shitty product in negative temperature, and didn't bother to hire people to shovel snow off the seats.
Yeah, and I believe he gave this interview before any of that, but I saw D. Smith talking about how NFL ownership groups they rely on nepotism, right? Owners pass jobs down to their kids. We see this all over the place. He's like, they're not really interested in hiring the best and brightest. They're trying to give their own family opportunity, and they want to control all the decision making. And he mentioned Cincinnati. I don't know everything about their ownership group, but do you think that that's true? Like, do you think that just people own it like it's a fantasy team and just want to give their family something fun to do and don't even attempt to hire better people?
Yeah, I think they're cheap. I think owners are cheap. A lot of rich people are cheap. Like they want to keep their own money, so they're trying to do it. Like the Bengals have a notoriously small support staff, a notoriously small scouting department. They're just cheap, Gabe. Like they just cheap. You got to pay good people money to come work for you, and teams just don't want to do it.
I get that. I like to pay good people to come do a good job. At the present moment, I can't see you. For a while there, I couldn't hear you, but doing my best that I can too. Hey, let's end this quick segment on a high note here. The top seed in the NFC is likely to come out of the West. It seems like Rams and Seahawks. They're playing later this week. I didn't see that coming. At least not the Seahawks part of it. Now the offense and the defense are both pretty good. I don't believe in Sam Darnold, but it's getting harder for me to claim they can't do it. What do you make of that game and that division and them atop the conference?
I think the Rams are better. They might not
Yeah.
win on Thursday, and the Rams are my team, dude. I like the Rams a lot. They have all the ingredients now. Devontae Adams is probably out till the postseason, which isn't great, but they have all the ingredients, man, to be a really good football team in the post. Like you talk about quarterback, coach, pass rush, like all the things you need to win in the postseason. They have those ingredients, and so to me, the Rams are better now. It's a short week on the road, traveling to Seattle. No Devontae Adams. They might not win the game. They certainly might not. But I I like the Rams. I like the quarterback better. Like I don't. I think Darnold, is fine. He's just hasn't shown up in those big moments.
Yeah, it feels like one of those years. It happens every now and then in the league, right? Where you get 3 games against each other, and the rubber matches in the postseason. And I think they split the regular season, and then the Rams win in the postseason. That's what it feels like to me.
Oh yeah, certainly is absolutely possible. Correct.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break and come back. There's 2 big college football stories out there. I don't know how far
Let's
you want
do
to
it.
go on either of them, but let's do that after the break.
All right, we're back, Gabe. Let's hit some college football quickly. We have playoffs this week. I'll cover playoffs with Matt on Friday, as far as like my picks and what I like in those games. But there are a couple topics we need to hit here before we get out of here.
Yeah, mainly just because I want to know what you think of this, and we haven't talked offline about it.
Yeah,
So first off, Heisman ceremony. Congrats to Mendoza. Cool. There's not a whole lot to say about that. He had the
yeah.
best year he won. All right. Diego Pavia gets all the headlines for making a fool of himself, frankly. Um, Here's my take, Jeff. Tell me how you feel about this. If you're going to say F the Heisman voters, and you're going to go out and party and make fun of Indiana at your party, and you're going to walk in like you're going into a UFC fight, and you're basically going to be that guy, don't then have a PR person apologize for all of it a day later. Just own it. Be Baker Mayfield, be Johnny Manziel, but turn it up to 10. I don't see how he's going to succeed in the NFL unless he just owns it and is that guy. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think it's seen in the NFL, anyways.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
I, if we never talk about him again, I'll be perfectly fine.
Okay.
I mean, he's 5'9" ish. He acted like an ass for the entire week. He loses the Heisman, but it wasn't even close, by the way. Mendoza won by a lot. F Indiana thing. F everyone's a bunch of losers. Family for life. Like all this stuff, man. Like grow up, dude. Like just come on. I just can't do it with the family. I can't. I hope we're done with the Pavia thing forever after this week. And that's the end of it.
Do you think it will be the end of it? Or do you think he'll be one of those 5th, 6th, 7th round guys and we'll have to spend a whole
I don't.
offseason talking about when he gets his chance?
No, I don't think so.
You really don't?
No.
Do you think he ended up at Vanderbilt because he's 5'9" and not 6 feet, and that there's no way an NFL team will give him a chance?
Uh, I think he. Well, he went from What did he go? Was it New Mexico?
I honestly don't even
UNLV?
remember.
For somewhere like that. Probably, yeah, probably. Probably no one gave him a chance because of his physical attributes.
Yeah. All right. Well, fine. You don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't have anything more to say about him. This one can go any direction you want. It's been such an unbelievably
Yeah.
sad and frustrating and weird story as the facts come out. I don't know where to take it other than to say, do you have any thoughts you want to share here on this show about the coaching situation in Michigan, Sharon Moore, all of that?
Well, a couple things. One is that the victims here are his family, his wife and children. They're the ones who unfortunately have to deal with this. They didn't sign up for this. They didn't ask for this, and now their names are forever attached with this. I feel bad for Sharon Moore is the wrong way to put it. Obviously, if you have a mental health situation, I hope that you get the help you need, Gabe. But certain situation that he created for himself, right? I just look. I'm not trying to to judge him, I guess, or judge anyone in that situation. But I don't understand. I just don't get the urge to sleep with other women that are not my wife. I barely have time in my life to like just be with my wife during the given day. How do you deal with two women like that, like for three or four
I
or
have no idea.
five? I have no idea. I have no clue, Gabe. Um, it's never something I've never been attracted to that. I've never wanted to do that. I don't understand that mindset. Also, too, like the coaches are notorious for spending 20 hours in the building. When is this happening? When is this happening at the building? When do you have time to cheat on your wife? Um, and then also like the stories come out about the DMs and whatnot. And I'm sure other coaches are sleazeballs too. But also he's 39. He's my age. He's threw his career away for this, for this. Um, and I have questions about whether Michigan knew, because it's so funny when the story comes out. People are like, oh, I knew about it for months, for years. I mean, okay, no one said anything. I guess that's the way it works. And the thing that I think is maybe most disappointing is that if he beats Ohio State, they absolutely just keep him and sweep this under the rug. You never hear about this if he actually beat Ohio State. So that's where I stand on it. Again, if he needs help, I hope he gets it. Tua just threw like the most Tua interception of all time. He looked like Phillip Rivers, just a noodle-armed 20-yard pass to the sideline that hung up in the air for 15 seconds. Um, I just, it's sad. I feel bad for the players, Gabe. Like again, like the players didn't ask for this. His family didn't ask for this, and you have to think about that as a coach, right? Gabe, you think about your things you do and the consequences they are for the entire program. You're the head coach. You're the head coach. And that's it's unfortunate, man. I feel bad for everyone who's innocent in this and what they have to deal with now moving forward.
Well said. I won't add anything here, but I think in weeks to come, when we learn a little bit more about what's going on, there are probably a few questions to ask you about that theory you said about a lot of people believe that this was known and may not have come out had he won that game against Ohio State, but it comes out anyway. And that sort of leads down the road of like, well, then who knew what and who used what? And, today's not the day for any of it. And the football game has started. So I think most people who would be watching us are probably watching that. So
Yeah.
let's say goodbye for now. Give us some good picks later in the week, and you and I will check back with each other Monday or Tuesday next week.
Sounds good, everyone. Have a great night. Enjoy the game time. We'll be back on Friday with our picks. Take care, everybody.